Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results in your neighborhood now at 6 a.m.
Now on News 6 Mornings, a dangerous discovery at a local school. Live update on the weapon that has a middle school student facing charges. Plus, getting results less than 2 weeks after a crash left 4 people dead. We're live as safety improvements come to a local intersection today. Closing arguments expected in a high-profile murder trial. What else could happen in court today before the jury gets the case? But first, we're pinpointing another chance of rain in your Thursday forecast. Good morning at 6 a.m. I'm Bridget Ellison.
I'm Crystal Moyer. Trooper Steve is watching the roads, and meteorologist Troy Bridges talking about some of that wet stuff that returns.
Yeah, we're getting used to this, right? It's still summer across Central Florida, so we'll be dealing with those storms. Nothing major when you talk about that risk of severe weather. We're not going to see a widespread risk, but we do have other issues, and it's going to be along the coast. Now, if you live along the coast, the concern would be some beach erosion. Now, I know a lot of folks may want to get in the water heading into the weekend because we're going to see the East Coast sea breeze push inland of the beaches and leave the beaches dry. That is a dangerous setup because we have that high surf advisory, meaning seas on through early next week will be close to 10 feet just offshore. Also, we have the small craft advisory, not a good setup for boaters, and this will continue likely through early next week. Certainly through the weekend, we have those rip currents, and we have that chance for that high tide to really lead to some issues with the beach erosion. Today, though, inland, we're going to be warming up to a high of 92, upper 80s along the coast with rain chances at 50% this afternoon, with a lower coverage of rain along the coast at about 30% to 40%, mainly because the rain pushes inland along the sea breeze. We'll show you future radar, but first, let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Stephen Montiero.
Trooper Steve's Pinpoint Traffic Report is brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Thank you, sir. Things not too bad out there still, and I'm liking it. So this is going to be I-4, Orange Blossom Trail, City of Orlando. Nice and smooth this morning, whether you're on 441. Hear me out. If you know of a 441 near you, it's currently clear. I know it's north and southbound. We go through like 4 different counties, but things nice and smooth out there this morning. That crash, we've talked about it kind of close to Wyndham Lakes. We're not going to talk about it anymore because it's residential, hit and run, and no lanes blocked. So it lets me kind of know. I've worked a few of those. It's probably a parking lot or someone hit a parked car. Narcoossee nice and clear this morning for now as you make your way into St. Cloud towards 13th Street. If you're headed east, maybe towards the Harmony area, no problems out there. And then 417 right here at Orange Avenue, running clear. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. Developing this morning, a gun and bullets found in a local middle school student's backpack. Police sharing this photo after the discovery led to a lockdown at DeLand Middle School yesterday. And now police say the 13-year-old's facing criminal charges. Our Ezzy Castro's live at the school, and as the investigators say, a tip led them to this weapon.
That's right, Bridget. They told us that they got the tip through an application called 45 Florida. Now, back out here live, the principal did tell parents that there will be more officers on campus today. As for the student that was arrested, he was charged with possession of a firearm on school grounds, which is a felony. Live in DeLand, Ezzy Castro getting results. News 6.
Ezzy, thanks. Happening today, 11 days after the crash took lives of 4 people, including 3 children. Crews in Osceola County are installing new traffic signs. Officials and neighbors hope a 4-way stop will get results at the site of the tragedy. The work is happening at Laurel Avenue and San Miguel Road in Poinciana. Mark Lehman has been following this since we first broke the story, and he's back out there now. Mark, the change comes after several neighbors and the victim's family voiced concerns.
We heard the outcries almost immediately after the crash. Those who drive through this intersection every day saying more needed to be done. And now we're seeing at least the first steps of that as those 4-way stop signs are being brought in. At this point, we're still waiting to find out if that 15-year-old driver will be facing any charges. Meanwhile, crews are set to begin installing those additional stop signs at 9 this morning. We'll be here as it happens and bring you a reaction to the new safety measure. For now, reporting live in Poinciana, Mark Lehman, getting results, News 6.
A Brevard County man accused of hanging swastikas and other anti-Semitic banners on an I-4 overpass is now out of jail after posting bond. State agents took 48-year-old Jason Brown into custody on Tuesday. They say he's one of at least 4 people who put up the derogatory signs along the Darrell Carter Parkway Bridge in June, violating a new state law meant to crack down on the display of hateful messages. This also isn't the first time Brown has been arrested. Last year, he was accused of stealing and damaging a Jewish student's cell phone while participating in an anti-Semitic demonstration in Orange County. Then State Attorney Monique Worrell, though, later dismissed the charges. New from overnight, the Powerball jackpot rolling over again. No one matched all the winning numbers in last night's $550 million drawing. You may have won a smaller prize, though, so here's a look at those numbers. Take a look, take a check of your tickets. Saturday night is the top prize is up to $596 million, and you could watch the drawing right here live just before News 6 at 11.
Well, coastal areas of New England keeping a close watch on Hurricane Lee. The storm's expected to make landfall this weekend near the Canadian border with Maine. Forecasters say heavy rain and wind is likely along the Atlantic coast, which has homeowners worried about possible erosion.
You get to the point where you question, like, how much more can it take? But, you know, we've built it back up each time we've had to and try and do something different to make it a little bit more resilient.
Lee is expected to continue impacting our coast for the next few days. Beach safety officials in Volusia County are warning of dangerous rip currents through at least next Monday. It just goes to show the powerful effects of these storms, even when they're far out, Troy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we think of last season, Ian and Nicole certainly led to erosion for a lot of our beaches. And so we're still not all the way recovered from that. So this will lead to some concerns with beach erosion again through early next week. Rip current staying high through that time period. And look at those seas up to about 10 feet just offshore for the end of the week through the weekend. But at the bus stop, as we talk about many inland spots, if you're not sitting on the sand or going near the beach, you'll be pretty good, as we'll see rain chances at 50% this afternoon, a high of 92, which is only 2 degrees above our average. Again, not a bad time to sit on the sand, but just be careful. I wouldn't get in the water. I know we keep telling you that and you want to, but it's going to be like a washing machine out there for the next several days with that high rip current risk. But air temperature along the coast in the upper 80s today, the water temperature 82 degrees, and those seas again approaching 10 feet. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve. His Pinpoint Traffic brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
10 feet.
That's a lot. That's high seas.
5'8" on a good day, so that's...
And then just churning out there. It's dangerous.
I'll wait in the car.
Yeah.
That's how
I'll look at it on the sand.
Exactly. I-4 right now, nice and clear. Sky 6 is up, meaning our weather is good as well, at least for right now. They just cleared the Maitland area east and westbound. I saw somebody pulled over out there, so please watch yourself in those express lanes. You know they're out there a lot. I-4 at OBT, nice and clear. Your I-4 drive time, 16 minutes. Kissimmee to downtown, 13 coming in from Lake Mary. A few crashes reported along 417. I've seen DOT cams trying to find them here. This is close to the turnpike, 417 north and southbound, looking good for now. I dropped my little radar thing on top of this just to give you a heads up. So if you're traveling anywhere between John Young, OBT, Turnpike, through that 417 transition area, just be careful. And then I do have a crash northbound Pleasant Hill at O'Berry causing some problems. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. We'll see you in just a few minutes to answer a viewer question.
Today, the rules when it comes to toll charges for larger vehicles.
And a critical deadline less than 24 hours away. What union reps are saying about a possible auto worker strike and the response from automakers. Also ahead.
And we believe that private utilities taking advantage of them.
Strong words from a local official hearing from an outraged community. The proposed water bill hike that has neighbors asking the county to step in.
You're watching News 6 Mornings, getting results for Winter Springs, Baldwin Park, and all of Central Florida.
In the midst of a homeowner insurance crisis, many homeowners are going rogue, taking matters into their own hands. A new strategy that could reshape the way you protect your home. News 6 investigator Lewis Bolden digs into this growing trend. It's a controversial strategy that could save you money, but is it worth the risk? Discover how more Floridians are dealing with sticker shock from insurance premiums and find out if it's right for you. Tonight at 6 p.m. only on News 6.
Dad and daughter plane crash survivors. Their miraculous story, how they survived. Next, Inside Edition.
Today at 4:30 on News 6. Live with Bridget Ellison, Crystal Moyer, meteorologist Troy Bridges, and Central Florida's only traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
All right, it is 6:14 a.m. and it is time for Ask Trooper Steve, where we answer the questions you send in. And today it's about how much certain drivers pay in the toll lane.
Well, now to an intruder interrupting a professional baseball game. The Bowie Bay Sox and Harrisburg Senators stopped playing while a skunk ran across the field. It's the second time this season a skunk has interrupted the game between the same two teams. I wonder, they must be hanging out nearby.
Maybe, or maybe there's something they eat on that grass or that dirt. I don't know.
That delay stinks.
Ooh, it stinks. It definitely stinks. Pepe Le Pew out there wanting to play some baseball. Well, today we are pinpointing some changes. Today we're going to have rain lingering a little later tonight. So if you go to bed early at 11 o'clock tonight, I think we're going to have some of those storms to deal with as we take you out there. Other issues, of course, will be along the coast. If you do live along the coast, we do have concerns about beach erosion. And if you're going to try to go to the beach, don't get in the water. I know I hate to tell people not to do something, but we're talking about a really dangerous situation. You ask why, though? It's because we've got this huge storm that was a major Category 3 for days and days, about 800 miles off of our coast. It has weakened to a Category 2. It's continuing north up near Nova Scotia eventually, but it will be going parallel to our coast. Even though it's going to be 800 miles away, it will be enough to give us some big concerns because it's such a big, strong storm. So now through the weekend and likely early next week, we're going to have that high surf up to 10 feet or close to that just offshore. Beach erosion, a real issue. The dangerous rip currents will continue, and that small craft advisory in effect for the next couple of days. So we do have a high surf advisory, also that small craft advisory that we just pointed out. So we're going to be dealing with that for every single beach along our coast for the next several days. And here again is why it did get downgraded to a Category 2 hurricane officially at 5 o'clock this morning with winds at 100 miles per hour. But look at it, about 800 miles off of our coast. It will impact New England and then again eventually making some sort of landfall near Nova Scotia. Here are those conditions we can expect. High rip currents, also those seas up to close to 10 feet for the next couple of days on through the weekend. So that's going to be a real issue. Not a good idea to get out on a boat. Behind that, we're also watching this area of low pressure that could get the name Nigel in the next couple of days, an 80% chance within the next 2 days. Right now it's near the Cabo Verde Islands, so plenty of time to watch it. It does look like it's going to make a turn to the north just like we saw Lee do. But here's a look at the pinpoint accurate forecast.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency? You ought to call Strata.
Today we warmed to a high of 92. That coverage of rain at 50%. Highs along the coast, the upper 80s. Inland, the low 90s. Here is your 7-day forecast. As we take you into the weekend, we'll see a high of 89 Saturday and Sunday with rain chances between 40 and 50%. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve. His pinpoint traffic brought to you by Napleton Automotive. Real easy to guess where they're flying right there.
Oh.
Just kidding. It's dark. I just see a few lights.
I was like, if you could guess this, I would buy lunch today.
I don't see much of anything.
All right. Well, that's good because I'm busy. Don't have time for lunch. So I-4 nice and clear, even over by OBT this morning. Your drive times across Central Florida, I-4, 417, and the Turnpike also running good. Now, DOT cam here. This is 417 at the 12. There's a reported issue northbound at the 11. DOT cam was kind of moving up and down here. You can see some type of flashing lights off into the distance. However, my map's not registering anything. So if you are getting ready to travel northbound on 417 through the Hunters Creek area, just pay attention and we'll be good. Pleasant Hill northbound leaving Point Siena, O'Berry Road causing an early morning early morning problem. Mix that with some school traffic. Add some time. Ladies, back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. New reaction from state officials to the updated COVID vaccine.
That's right. At the bottom of the hour, the message from Florida's top doctor going against the federal government.
But first, potential danger surrounding a combination of two popular substances. Next, a warning from researchers about using marijuana and tobacco at the same time.
This portion of the news is sponsored by the Flooring Center. When every minute matters, News 6 is getting you all the facts and every detail that matters to you. For breaking news turned to News 6.
Still to come, improving safety at the site of a recent deadly crash.
We're live as crews prepare to install new signs in hopes of preventing future wrecks.
To everyone, it was just another case, and you looked at us like another family. I trust Channel 6.
Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results.
A 13-year-old facing charges accused of bringing a gun and bullets to a local middle school, who police say spoke up and alerted officers to the threat.
Plus, an arrest following hateful messages spray painted outside two Orlando LGBTQ centers. The man police say was behind it and why he could face enhanced charges.
And getting results following a crash that left 4 family members dead. The safety changes that are set to be made this morning at one Osceola County intersection. Good morning, Central Florida. I'm Crystal Moyer.
I'm Bridget Ellison. Thanks for staying with us on your Thursday. We want to get a check of your pinpoint weather with meteorologist Troy Bridges, who has some heat and humidity for us.
Yeah, plenty of that, and that's going to lead to those storms that will linger later tonight, as late as 11, even midnight. We'll show you future radar straight ahead. Also, a big situation at our beaches because of Lee. Still a Category 2. It was a Category 3 hurricane as it moves about 100 miles off of our coast. Waves up to 8 feet, rip currents, rough sea, and the chance that we could see some beach erosion, all because of those high seas and those waves that continue to batter the coast. There is a small craft advisory as well as a high surf advisory along our coast today. So if you are going to the beaches, beware, that water is dangerous. Now, inland and even in areas where we're not going to be at the coast, we're going to be looking pretty good, but rain chances do go up to 50% this afternoon with a high of 92 degrees. Along the coast, the rain chance a little lower at 30% because we'll see that east coast sea breeze pushing inland. I'm going to show you future radar and explain all of that for you. But first, let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Stephen Montiero.
Trooper Steve's Pinpoint Traffic Report is brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Troy. I-4 looking for nice this morning. Your drive times where they should be. We are up to speed in both directions out here, east and westbound. However, 417, I found the crash. So this is going to be northbound 417 between the 10 and the 11. It involves 417 and the exit ramp there to Orange Blossom Trail. So just pretend you were traveling northbound along 417 and you're exiting there at OBT. You've got that warehouse, the storage facility right there in front. This entire on-ramp there is currently shut down. I'm trying to get some more information on that crash, so just bear with me. Guys, back to you.
For Steve.
The man accused in a deadly shooting and carjacking at a Palm Bay gas station is expected to face a judge today for the first time since his arrest. We brought you this as breaking news yesterday morning after police say 23-year-old Evan Chambliss shot the victim several times at the 7-Eleven along Bayside Lakes Boulevard and then stole his car. The victim was rushed to the hospital but died from his injuries. Chambliss was arrested after a pursuit with deputies in Indian River County.
Extremely scary. I live right around the corner. It's a great part of town. It's just scary, real scary.
And the crime comes just days after another shooting in Palm Bay left 4 teens injured and the discovery of a body in the undeveloped area known as the compound. The mayor addressed the recent crimes in a message posted to social media last night, saying the shootings are isolated and do not reflect the safety of the city.
Troopers are asking for help in finding the driver involved in a hit-and-run crash that left a bicyclist seriously hurt. It happened just before 5 in the morning on July 26th. That's near the intersection of Wolf Branch Road and Stone Meadow Court in Sorrento. Investigators say the driver involved crashed into the bicyclist, then took off. There were no witnesses, but troopers did find what appears to be part of the front headlight assembly of a Kia Soul between the years of 2014 and 2018, possibly white in color. If you have any information that could help investigators, call the Highway Patrol.
Turning back to weather now, another warm, humid day, Troy, and we could still see some more showers again today.
Yeah, at times it'll feel like the triple digits, especially for inland areas along the coast. Because of the east breeze, it won't feel quite as hot, but close enough. We're going to be heating up with that humid air in place, and that will also set the stage at the bus stop for a few of those scattered showers and storms. The coverage of rain today at 50%, pushing in along the coast and then eventually along I-4. We'll show you future radar straight ahead, but 92 will be the high today. The coverage of rain again at 50%. So make sure the kids do have an umbrella or a poncho in the backpack for a few of those heavier downpours. Here is that risk at the beaches. We're going to continue this through the weekend. That high rip current risk will be the story, and seas approaching 10 feet just off the coast. So a real dangerous situation. We could even see some beach erosion. So we've got to watch for that. Now coming up, I'm going to take you through the future radar and show you the east coast sea breeze pushing in and more on the timing for the rain and just how long it'll last. It's going to last later tonight, possibly as late as midnight. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve. His Pinpoint Traffic brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Thank you, sir. Right now, I-4 looking pretty good this morning. East and westbound Sky 6 out there making their way towards this. This just happened a little while ago. This is at Maitland Summit Boulevard at Summit Tower Boulevard. So I'll give you a reference. It's right by the Chick-fil-A by the Maitland east and westbound on the west side there of I-4. So please be very careful through here. If you travel through here, this is very kind of thin roadways out in that area. So reported with injury, so just take it nice and easy. The rest of us not too bad. Still watching this out at the 10-mile marker at 417. This is your exit to Orange Blossom Trail. Looks like The sheriff's office is assisting with this closure, but your entrance and exit ramp at OBT at 417 is currently closed. Yesterday, I was out in the city of Ocoee hanging out on patrol, checking out the intersection of Franklin and McGuire. Someone had posted on kind of those rants and raves pages about the traffic timing out here. So I timed the light. The light's good to go. The problem is the intersection north of there at Silver Star. You guys stack up into the intersection. Look at the video right there. And you do it right behind a police officer. It makes no sense to me. But if you guys start to obey the other lights, this one will work out for you. Today, unfortunately, we are back out in Poinciana. We've been talking about it all morning, but the topic's going to be four-way stops. I know it sounds common sense, but it's not for a lot of people. So hopefully we can drive that message home and not see any more issues out there. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. Still ahead, mixed messages when it comes to the newly updated COVID vaccine.
Why Florida's top doc is warning against the shot despite a recommendation from the FDA.
But first, new details surrounding the capture of an escaped inmate that eluded Pennsylvania police for days, how the convicted killer was ultimately found, and the role a dog played in bringing him to justice.
This portion of the news is sponsored by the new Epic Pepperoni Stuffed Crust Pizza, only at Papa John's. Recovering your money. See how we can help with the Make Ends Meet newsletter at clickorlando.com/newsletter. Live with Bridget Ellison, Crystal Moyer, meteorologist Troy Bridges, and Central Florida's only traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
People in the suburbs of Philadelphia are breathing a sigh of relief after a 2-week manhunt for an escaped killer ends. Danilo Cavalcante is now back behind bars after spending 14 days on the run.
Well, a Marion County family is learning good things come in threes.
Yeah, the number's not only how many daughters they have, but also a special day for the siblings because all 3 girls were born on the same day, and that would be September 3rd.
Aww.
The Turner family recently celebrated their 3-year-old daughter's birthday, their 2-year-old daughter's birthday, and the birth of their 3rd little girl, Juliet.
It was like deja vu all over again, the same thing. And everybody was shocked and surprised. They couldn't even believe it. Makes celebrating birthdays easier.
I know.
Oh, yes. Papa's got the right idea.
Yeah, did you hear the screaming in the background? I like that part.
Think of all the savings there. They're going to have all those birthdays together.
The kids won't like it.
The family says the girls were born at the same hospital, Advent Health Ocala. That's so sweet.
They'll have a huge blowout party, though.
So who gets to pick the theme, though?
Each year, they'll trade off.
Oh, yeah.
They'll trade off each year. It's your turn this year. You pick what we're going to party about.
It's going to be a big party, too.
That is, right? It better be. And it better have a whole bunch of threes involved. Well, today, you know what? We have something different as a setup weather-wise. We're going to continue rain chances pretty late as midnight tonight. So just be ready. If you're trying to sleep early, you may hear that thunder and lightning. Now, also a big concern, if you haven't heard, will be the beaches and all the issues at the beaches. High surf up to 10 feet just offshore. Beach erosion could be a problem because of that. So I do worry about the folks who've had to deal with those last systems. We had Ian and Nicole last season, and that really led to a lot of issues with erosion. So we could see more as we talk about Lee still offshore by about 800 miles. But because it was so big for so long, a major category 3 for days, it is bringing issues to us, even though it's that far away. Dangerous rip currents have been the story for the last several days. It will continue through the weekend and likely the first part of next week. There are advisories, a small craft advisory in effect, as well as a high surf advisory, and that will likely go for the next couple of days. Possibly they'll extend those into early next week. Here is your 7-day forecast. As we take you into it, you'll see those rain chances at 40% on Saturday, 50% Sunday, but highs in the 80s. Back to the 80s. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve. It's Pinpoint Traffic, brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Thank you, sir. Sky 6 is cruising out there, out by International Drive Convention Center area right now, flying westbound. However, with traffic, things happen like that. So I got a text on the way out here by my EP. So there might be a crash northbound on the turnpike approaching the I-4 area around the 259. I'll move DOT cam here in the next few, but me telling you gives you enough heads up. I-4 just east of Maitland, nice and smooth this morning, east and westbound. I am watching a crash that is off to the west of I-4, so just be careful. 18 minutes average in about both directions. That crash there out by the Chick-fil-A off of Maitland Boulevard there, right at Maitland Summit and Summit Tower Boulevard. Boulevard, so be careful. Rest of our drive times checking out nice, even above the speed limit on 417. So please be careful. They're out there and they're watching. 417 at Orange Blossom Trail. Your ramp is closed out here to get onto 417. Sheriff's office is there, so please be careful. Crash, I'll let you know when it clears. Guys, back to you.
All right, Trooper Steve, a scare at a local middle school.
A student was caught with a gun and bullets. The charges he's now facing next as we check our big stories.
You deserve to hear the best. That's why News 6 has partnered up with Mix 105.1. Listen to your pinpoint weather updates on Mix 105.1 while we pinpoint your weather on the go. Some teams are just better together.
6:54. Let's check our big stories on this Thursday, starting with Ezzy Castro live in DeLand.
A 13-year-old is facing charges this morning after police say he brought a gun to DeLand Middle School. Officers say they found the weapon along with bullets inside the boy's backpack after getting a tip through the Fortify Florida app. The scare caused a lockdown on campus yesterday. Police say he never threatened anyone with a gun, but the school principal says that possibly more security measures could be added within the next couple of days to make sure that something like this does not happen again. Mark.
Crews will be out in Poinciana this morning, turning the site of a deadly crash last week into a four-way stop. Neighbors have been calling for changes ever since the wreck on Laurel Avenue and San Miguel Road killed a woman and her 3 young grandchildren. The county says starting at 9, workers will be adding the extra stop signs. What we don't know yet is if the 15-year-old unlicensed driver, troopers say, caused the crash, will face any charges. Bridget?
Mark, closing arguments set for later today at the trial of the man accused of killing Daytona Beach police officer Jason Rayner. What we don't know yet is if Othel Wallace will take the stand in his own defense.
And Orlando police say they've caught the suspect who vandalized multiple LGBTQ murals last month. Matthew Robinson was arrested yesterday, but is already in the process of bonding out of jail. Troy.
Crystal, today we will have a 50% coverage of rain as the sea breezes come together. They will linger, those showers and storms, pretty late on into likely midnight tonight, and also big issues at the beaches. We'll be reporting that throughout the day. Trooper Steve.
Sky 6 cruising out there on your Thursday morning, checking things out for me. I-4 in the Turnpike area. Report of a crash out there, so I'll keep you posted throughout the morning, but we're moving up to speed in both directions. This is nice. About 17 minutes average, east and westbound, and we're sitting in the green.
All right, thanks for joining us this morning, and we break news on clickorlando.com.
You can also find all of our stories and podcasts on News 6 Plus for your TV.
CBS Mornings is next. Make it a great day.
What a start.
Nice.
We appreciate everything you've done for us. We will recommend this to other people that are hurting like we are.